But I have a guest standing by, investment analyst and economic development expert, who's Mr. Ogbonna Ukuku. He joins me from the United States of America to do some of this analysis of this breakdown of these figures that we've just seen from the Apex Bank. Mr. Ukuku, thank you so much. I'm sure you're able to hear part of the CBN governor responding to questions from journalists. What we see is that there's been a retention. What were you expecting? And in your thoughts, what are the fundamentals surrounding this retention by the central bank?
All right. Thank you so much, Tolu. Thanks for having me on the program. And yes, I listened. And my expectations really, I was expecting for the central bank to hold rates as they are, because when you begin to make some significant progress based on decisions taken, it goes to show that you're on the right track. So if you begin to make such progress and they are not yet as significant, because like he said, the target is for you to get to single-digit inflation rate. So until you get there, I don't think you can. There's no magic wand around it. So these are very simple things that you need to look at the trends and then begin to work towards actualizing that goal. And the goal is single digit. So beyond looking at those policy directions, so we need to also, like you said, there's the confluence between monetary policy and fiscal policy managers is the interaction is becoming more and more robust. So with that, there'll be some level of strategic interventions, because if you notice, when we had so much liquidity, it was born out of ways and means, and then again those interventions. So those interventions were not strategic. So at this point in time, so being able to support industrialization, which is key for productivity, which has always been the issue, there has to be some rethink, a redesign of the interventions, because those interventions are going to be very key going forward if we must achieve the single-digit interest rates. Inflation rate, yeah. Inflation rate.
Okay, I get you there. But let's look at the stability in the banking industry, which you mentioned. To me, that's a sign. That's a good one. 8 banks have already met the recapitalization requirement of the central bank. That seems to me to be like a step in the right direction and a bit of stability in our financial and banking space. How does that come to you?
Yeah, it comes. I'm usually not surprised, because when you look at the banking, the banking sector, so that's one sector that, if you look at it clearly, they've been consistent, right? So the inputs have always been, how do I secure depositors' funds? How do I apply those funds? And how do I run or manage, the manpower within the ecosystem? So I've never had issues with, the banks being able to meet the recapitalization capacity, because, those funds are there, and then the assets that they've been able to build over the years. So it's never been a problem. So where I have always had issues is the application of those funds, how they are going to apply more of the depositors' funds into transactions that would help, grow the economy. So those conversations, when it comes to being able to be, they have to target certain risk-averse transactions that would also support the economy.
That's a good one. But looking at the trend of inflation in your own understanding, and of course, you're in the US now, but of course you're back home very soon. What do you think, with regards to that trend? I've been asking analysts like you in recent times, do you think that we've gotten to that point where that curve now starts to tilt downwards?
Yes, we have, but it's still a bit, fragile. So that's why you see, earlier I said in my, when I started, I said something. See, we need to be able to pay conscious attention to industrialization, because those factors that support industrialization, looking at the land, labor, capital, and entrepreneurship. So the entrepreneurial thing, which is the spirit that is required. So everybody looks at the capital, capital is not everything. There's still that efficiency. There's still that technology transfer. There's still the ability to bring in skilled manpower. So our raw material supply strategy has to be efficient. Okay, we need to also look at infrastructure. How do goods or raw material move from from farm, for example, to the industrial hub. So those things are the factors we need to begin to pay attention to. So that's why I still talk about intervention. So are we going to support raw material supply? Are we going to support agriculture? Are we going to support backward integration when it comes to manufacturing and those things that we import so much, like staple food? You can imagine how much we spend on. We had a conversation a few days ago or a few weeks ago about how much we spend on foreign exchange importing dairy products into Nigeria when we have as much cows in Nigeria, but we've not been able to take advantage of our lifeline. So those are the kind of strategic conversations we need to start having now for us to be able to actualize that deliberate effort for us to get to our goal, really.
Yeah, I'm excited about our external reserves that has also stabilized and is even improving. $40.1 billion is what the central bank governor says we have at the moment as reserves. Now, my question to you really would be, what sort of backings or what sort of stability or what sort of shield, yeah, I think that's the right word, do you think that would have for our currency? That's the Naira. There's been a bit of stability in the foreign exchange market. You will agree with me, over in between 1,005, 1,550 in recent times. Marketers can project, manufacturers can project at least along that line. So what do you make of the stability in that external reserve space? How it affects the foreign exchange market?
Now, the key thing is, so I wear my cap now as an investment promotion expert. I tell you, so one of the first thing that this administration has done is to be able to bring everybody out of the bubble. So the predictable investment business environment is one thing that is very key. Investors are like water, yeah? They flow to areas of least resistance. So that means if an investor sees a dark hole, no investor, nobody, see, money has a culture, money has an attitude. So money does not like dark places. So where an economy where everything can just happen is like you're in a war zone. Nobody will carry, even a portfolio investor, a greenfield investor will carry their money and walk into a place where they are not sure. But what we've been able to do is to create that predictable business environment. And so that gives confidence, and confidence is everything. So hope comes from confidence, our ability to not to stand on the fence. Now we know that in the next 4 or 5 years, even if I put my money in this economy, I can have an exit plan. Unlike before, where anything goes, somebody can just wake up and change things. So now we can see stability. So for me, that will support support the foreign reserve a lot because so the diaspora remittances. I was so excited when I saw some Nigerians out here going to do their BVN and all of that. So that's to show you Bank of America non-resident accounts. Deposit in Bank of America, because I mean that's one of the banks that allow non-resident deposit to open accounts in their bank. You see the income they make from that alone is a lot. So which is exactly what's going to it's going to be a positive it's going to have a positive effect in our economy, because a lot of diaspora remittances will come in, and that will also help cushion. Then again, like I said earlier, investment, foreign direct investment is going to because people are confident now, so a lot of foreign investment has to come. So what we need to pay attention to is those things that are key. Yes, the investors are driven by resources, both natural and human resources. They are driven by market. Yes, as we improve people's disposable income in Nigeria, and then strategic assets. We have some strategic assets where the investors are very interested in. But one thing is very key, which is what I call the denominator. The denominator is efficiency in the system. So if we begin to pay attention to efficiency in the system by way of lawmaking, by way of providing aftercare services, support services to investors, hand-holding investors, that will actually be key and help help the economy grow, and then those buffers that we need when it comes to our foreign reserve will be on the increase.
Outlook now, the CBN is expecting further decline of course, inflation, global inflation too generally, and to see how that will, at the end of the day, trickle down into affecting Nigeria as an economy. We also had our rebased GDP released yesterday and showed some better figures than what we used to have before now. But in your own thoughts, what will be your outlook? That's on one side. Then on the other side, the CBN governor talked about the Article 4, that's the IMF report, and what it also means for Nigeria. What do you make of that report and, of course, your outlook for the larger economy?
Yeah, generally speaking, like I've been saying, I'm very optimistic. There will be a lot of growth. There'll be some significant improvement as far as the economy is concerned. And like I said, transparency is everything. When you're transparent, people will trust you more, people want to do business, with you. So the IMF report also, speaks to the fact that transparency is very key, and that has always been what they've been speaking about when it comes to, the Nigerian economy. And so since we have taken that bold step, to be able to, look at, even when it comes to those level of things that are not transparent. Let me just put it that way. If you've been able to take care of those things, so there is hope, and then that hope, and that confidence would, for me, the general outlook is looking very good. It's looking very good, and I know with more intentionality when it comes to policies, we will definitely get there.
You touch on the IMF report as we wrap up.
Say again?
The IMF report that, talked about how Nigeria needs to attack or address issues around the fallout of the reforms, the stability that we've seen. We should stay put with the economic reforms of President Bola Tinubu. What do you make of that report from the IMF?
Yeah, it's very simple. So nobody was able to take this bold step. Now the president has decided to take, because politically, nobody wants to, because everybody's thinking about the next election. Everybody wants to win the next election without, getting Nigeria out of that whole bubble, the lie. Because you can't continue to, function, and then you can't continue, doing the wrong thing and expect a different result. They say that's the simplest way to define insanity. So for a president to decide to take the most unpopular decision to remove subsidy, and then to bring a stability in the foreign exchange market, for me, everybody in the world is excited about it. Everybody wants to see that kind of thing. Even people that want to loan money or loan money to Nigeria, they will be more comfortable. So so what needs to happen now? The private sector has to, be able to embrace. They need to understand, the fallout, and then begin to embrace the new facts that everybody see. So you need to also clean your books and then be transparent, like the country has become transparent when it comes to doing business. So the environment becomes a bit more suitable for people to want to, interact and then, do business.
That's a good way to live it. Interesting conversation as always with you. I must thank you for joining us with the time factor and all of it. This is really appreciated. Mr. Ogbonna Okuku is investment analyst, economic development expert. He joined us from the United States of America. Let's see how all of that plays out, and maybe our next conversation you'll be back to town.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for having me.
All right then. Stay safe.